Gosia, good afternoon and welcome to the Future of E-commerce Catch-Up. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today. We are here with Gosia Wajchert, Managing Director, Middle East and Africa for Criteo. Gosia, welcome again and thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us.
And thank you for having me, Dan. I'm happy to be here. Obviously, apologies for not making it last time to the live event, but
That's right. It was, I think we were originally planned to be meeting on stage for the first catch-up,
Exactly.
but the wave of fourth quarter illnesses had other plans. So at that event, I did give a quick introduction to each of the speakers as it came up, but why don't you do that for any of the few who don't know you in e-commerce in Dubai and the Middle East for our audience, and give us a bit about your journey to Dubai and Criteo.
Sure. I think most people, they do know me in the industry, but I mean, yes, thank you for the intro. So I've been living in Dubai for just over 16 years. So actually mid-October was like my 16th year anniversary. Predominantly, I spent around 14 years at the top agencies here. So that's why I think most people, they do know me. So obviously Omnicom, Publicis, and then IPG. And in May 2022, I kind of said goodbye to my old life, which is the agency life. And I moved to the tech side. So, I mean, since May 2022, I've been heading Criteo, as you said, for Middle East and Africa. And it's been one hell of a journey, but I mean, obviously super positive. And yes, and I'm happy to be here to talk more about commerce audiences, a bit of retail media, I guess, because that's the Criteo's core business.
Fantastic, yeah. Well, I think the sort of umbrella that we wanted to sort of talk about at the first catch-up was looking at the fourth quarter, traditionally the busiest quarter of the year,
Correct.
Coming out of the summer and everything like that. So just before we look forward into to Q4, just tell us a bit about how your 2024 has been so far. What are the main challenges that you've seen at Criteo this year?
Criteo, and I would say industry, because I think all my peers, everyone in the region would agree that it's been quite a tough year. You know, I mean, among tech players, agencies, and advertisers, because of the natural reasons, you know, obviously because of the war and the boycotts and everything. So naturally, the advertising budgets, they were smaller. I mean, there was a massive cut, obviously, starting Q4 last year, but it was definitely visible in Q1 and a bit of a Q2. And then summer is obviously naturally a slow period for everyone. So right now, hopefully we're on the roll to, to the better future and the better months. And for sure, Q4, it's obviously, we know it's the key period for the region, not only because of the Black Friday, or how we call it, the White Friday or Yellow Friday, depends who advertises what. Because of the festive season, but also because obviously of the peak touristic season in the region, right? So so it's not for the retailers, but it's also for all our beloved hospitality clients.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It is just around the corner. White Friday, Black Friday, Yellow Friday,
yes.
and the holiday sales season that sort of goes in there. Singles Day, obviously, in and amongst
exactly.
all of
Singles
that as
Day.
well.
I forgot about this one. Yes.
So, I mean, last year was huge. I think a statistic which I'd seen was in the US, online sales were up 288% on normal October shopping day during sort of their Black Friday, similar spikes seen in Europe and the Middle East. I mean, with what you're seeing and what you're thinking at Criteo, do you see that being more of the same, better or worse for some of those reasons that you touched on earlier?
Yes, I would say pretty much the same. I mean, there's no difference here. Obviously, everyone's been preparing for Black Friday. I mean, I think since even late summer, all the big retailers. And then, like, if I think about like Jumia in Africa, obviously the key players here, everyone is in the same shoes. So it doesn't matter whether it's, as I said, Africa and the countries over there, or whether it's Middle East, same. And expected spike, I mean, this is where they put, majority of the budget in November. And as expected, as you said, that's the increase that more or less is consistent across all the countries.
And I guess it's with Dubai and Saudi Arabia specifically, they're in a booming economy in terms of sort of the growth populations that we're seeing here. Do you think that there's a chance that they're going to stand out from global comparisons, or fare sort of similarly again to what we see in Europe and America?
Well, as I would want to say, we are as advanced as Europe, not yet. There is a trend, for sure. Okay, we have Amazon. We know it's a leading platform, but then along with Noon, which is same thing, right? So there is going to be obviously lots of money put by all those guys, to promote the Black Friday and the peak, the retail season, but also the others. Definitely retailers like Carrefour's and Lulu's and so on. They've also, this is the most important month for those guys. So definitely a big increase, big spike. Everyone has their own numbers, obviously, individually. All depends on the products, on the promotions. What promotions are they going to have? Who is their target audience? How they're going to approach the strategy, et cetera, because obviously everyone responds to the message differently.
Absolutely, and within all of that, obviously there's so much data that's sort of given, received, harvested, and everything like that. Just focusing on data-driven decisions and artificial intelligence, I think we talked about the catch-up that could have been a catch-up on its own. It could have done an hour. I think artificial intelligence in any industries, sort of the talk of the water coolers. But when it comes to data collection and obviously being fragmented and taken from multiple sources, how much of a game changer do you see artificial intelligence as being able to harness that vast amount of data points?
Very good question. So Criteo, as we all know, it's the global leader in first-party commerce audiences, and we just recently released the new narrative when it comes to commerce audiences. I encourage everyone to download it from Criteo.com and read more about what's behind and how we collect the data. It's all about the signals, obviously the consumer's journey, their research based on the search keywords, product interactions, their pre-purchase intent behavior, post-purchase behavior, and we collect all of those signals, right? Because, as I mentioned before, everyone buys differently, and Criteo knows how people buy. By collecting those signals from more, globally, we have 18,000 e-com websites and the clients that we work with. Obviously, more than 4 billion SKUs that we collect the data from. So, it's a goldmine of data, right? It's massive. And it's definitely led and supported by AI. Without AI, we wouldn't be able to, to translate all of those data into one single persona. Obviously, everything is hashed. So for everyone we collect the signals upon consumers' consent. So we collect it from the open internet, from the publishers as well, the website that we work with, from all the e-com websites we work with, but also the retailers. So whenever they have the closed environment, it's obviously very pure first-party data. So, and we collect them all together. Everything is powered by predictive AI and then deep machine learning to translate it into very unique persona that it's relevant later on for a particular advertiser. And on top of it, obviously, to make the campaign successful, we layer it out and we add dynamic creative, so very personalized creative based on obviously the online habits and the product that they engage with, what they want to buy, what they are after, the message, etc. And that's, I would say, the unique approach. And that's the winning combination now, I would say. And when it comes to AI, AI, everyone says about it, mention it. And to be frank, for Criteo, it's been always there, even since 2010 before. So was always a part of Criteo. Even like initially, Criteo was obviously one product supplier, was known globally from their retargeting capabilities, but everything was obviously powered by AI. But with the time and requirements, it evolved, and now it's extremely obviously sophisticated. But then we do have more than 1,000 people working in R&D. So you can imagine, like, you know, how hard it is. I mean, how hard it is. Like, they put so much work into actually improving the product and translating it towards the customer needs and advertisers' needs, you know, to make it as efficient as it can be.
Yeah, a word that you just used there, I think, just really stands out is personalization of the campaigns, and compared to, you know, what you were as a consumer journey online 3-4 years ago compared to now. I think it was on one of the Criteo research resources I was watching, talking about the funnel where if you are in the market for a baby stroller and knowing not to engage with that person once that transaction has been done and things like that, that it's just such a difference to obviously a consumer journey 5 years ago. How important is the personalization aspect of things?
It's massive. It's definitely, I would say, number one, the right data and the personalized message, right? And knowing the user's behavior, because then I would say the retention part kicks in, right? Whether you are I don't know, a coffee maker, so not to mention the brands, right? Once you reach your audience and they buy your coffee machines, you would want to keep this consumer, right, and keep upselling and selling them with the capsules or whatever, the beans, whatever it is, depends on the coffee machine, right? So you would want to stay close to this customer, right, and everything, and your message towards him has to be tailored, right? You cannot have, I don't know, general message after they purchase this particular machine, right? If I purchased, I don't know, coffee bean machine, I cannot have it like a general later on banner with the capsules or something else, right? So that's one point. That's the retention part. Post-purchase engagement, so this is extremely important, and obviously the tailored message and how the brand want to engage with their customers, right? Afterwards, maybe they bought something, I'm saying anything right now, at the sofa, you know, in one of the, you know, obviously the furniture stores in the UE during the upcoming festive season. But then, okay, maybe you will think, okay, they bought a sofa, maybe they will need an armchair or something else, you know. So that's your actually strategy, depends what it is, you know, to re-engage with the customer. Second thing that I can think of, it's super important that I would say falls into this sort of the same bucket is Criteo acknowledged some time back, and how important the social commerce is, and how important it is to keep the same conversation, you know, and not to lose customer. So when we obviously Criteo operates in the open internet, so predominantly we target and we reach the customer in the open internet. However, we all know everyone is different. Not everyone consumes content in the open internet all the time. So let's say we do engage with persona A, they click on the banner, they go on the website, they engage, they research the product, they did not buy. And then they leave the open internet because it's not in their habit to go and check, I would say, the news on the web every day or somewhere else. But they do spend time on social networks, right? So Criteo has this ability, has an extension to retarget those personas once they cross the line. They leave the open internet and they move into the so-called walled gardens, which is the social media. So currently we are live. We've been live for more than 1 year and a half, almost 2 years with Meta, so Meta extension. And it's been working extremely well. I think we have more than 4,000 clients live globally. So we are talking about the placements on Instagram and Facebook, and obviously it's nothing new that I'm going to say because we've been talking about it as well. We are finalizing the POC with TikTok, so hopefully soon we're going to officially launch it as well, and then we have in the pipeline a few other social players as well. So hopefully, yeah, especially for the region here, you know, they're very social. It's a very social-driven region, so especially Saudi Arabia, to your point. So hopefully it's going to be a game changer for e-commerce, because essentially, and I want to highlight, we don't compete with the social media commerce activations. We just ensure that whenever we reach the customer in the open internet, and it comes from Criteo's first party, obviously the e-commerce data set, the one that I mentioned before, once they cross the open web social border, let's call it this, and we will be still able to talk to them, and the ad will be personalized, the same conversation based on their online behavior in the open internet, based on the product and they engage with. The ad will be displayed on, let's say, Instagram, right, in the feed or Facebook.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So this is extremely important. This is like a game changer. And the results, they speak for themselves. So
I mean, I think certainly the TikTok developments and where they've been, where they come from, and obviously it being a fairly nascent social media site, but what it's become and where it's going is such an important player in the social commerce that
100%.
That is very exciting.
And it's all about collaboration. We don't compete with anyone. We like to collaborate. Criteo is well known from obviously working closely with Google on many aspects. We were the one, obviously, that were. We've been working still with Google on the cookie deprecation solutions. We're the one testing the sandbox. Again, we work closely with the social networks as well, so we like to collaborate.
Collaboration, absolutely. Well, we'd like to think that Stratus Pulse is somewhat in a similar kind of environment as a facilitator of introductions and meetings. So looking, you also mentioned Saudi Arabia there, and obviously they've got a very young population, sort of, and with the social media use always just on the rise. How important is this? It might sound a very simple, glib question, but how important is the Saudi Arabian market and what's obviously happening not far down the road?
This is actually a spot-on question, because on Sunday I'm going to Saudi for another market visit. Everyone knows Saudi is extremely important, and it keeps growing, and the maturity, especially when it comes to e-com, when it comes to retail media, is also growing, following the UAE and so on, and obviously it's catching up, same as following Europe and the US. So again, Saudi is super important. They're following the trends. Maybe the adoption is slightly slower, but again, it depends on the vertical. I'm not talking travel. I'm talking more about e-commerce or the readiness of the websites, but there are many key retailers in Saudi Arabia. They acknowledge this, and that's why they are revamping their websites to make it more user-friendly, and especially for the e-com advertising, revamping the feeds and stuff. So from the technical point of view, to be able to once monetize their website whenever they are ready. Secondly, to be ready for the full-on e-commerce journey. I would say.
Yeah, and have you seen at all any of the more traditional sort of homegrown Saudi companies moving more into e-commerce as the country's opened up to foreign investment?
Most of them are yes, but as I mentioned, I don't want to call the brands, but they're doing a good job. There's many consultants also putting lots of effort and on revamping the vertical, if we call it this way. But there are many great homegrown Saudi brands that they compete with. Very well known, again, not to mention the names, sure. Chinese e-com brands, and hands down to them, really, it's amazing what's happening, and I really look forward to 2025 and even 2026, because we need to remember it's not only obviously the grocery shops, it's not only QSR, our the Deliveroo's here and etc. and hunger stations on Talabat. There are also lots of retailers, specifically Saudi retailers, that they want to tap into full-on e-com journey as well.
Yeah. I think just touching back on what you just talked about earlier with the partnerships and collaboration. And how does collaboration with brands and retailers evolve in the fourth quarter and beyond?
Okay, this is actually a very good question. There are certain verticals that it's easier to collaborate between, let's say, advertisers and retailers. One of them, the best example would be consumer electronics. And one of the most common collaboration is so-called, we call it retail media offsite activation. Recently, we did run very successful campaign for one of the leading consumer electronics brand with extra superstores in Saudi Arabia. And I definitely look forward to bringing more brands because sometimes, again, as I said, it depends on the market, on the consumer's behavior, where do they feel more comfortable buying, right? I mean, this particular advertiser, they have their own .com website, but they decided to actually push sales on the retailer website, right? So yeah, as we can see, it depends on the brand, how sophisticated they are, what's in their agenda. Maybe in Saudi, the consumer was not really, so convinced to buy from .com website. They were more familiar with, homegrown brands like extra superstores because obviously they have physical stores, but there's also online. And it depends on the consumer. Sometimes, what they do, like they go to the shop, they still will sit on the sofa, jump on the mattress, whatever, or check the clothes, check the device, check whatever, and then convert online. That's the most common, I would say, shopping behavior these days.
Yeah. And I think just with where the point of sale is done with the devices, like you mentioned, obviously mobile phone commerce wasn't a thing when I was growing up in the 80s in Manchester, certainly. And what do you think is next? Obviously, we're living in the artificial intelligence era going into that. Is there any sort of particular areas of where point of sale might happen in the future that you're particularly excited about?
Definitely, retail media is the future, right? So, and I just mentioned the consumer electronics because I think, it's the easiest, I would say, activation, but also all the CPGs, all the leading, our beloved CPGs, right? They don't have .com websites, right? Their point of sale will always gonna be a retailer. So now, it's already in the US and in Europe and in the key leading markets in APAC. Definitely number one digital channel for retailers is retail media. And this is Criteo, I would say it's a second side of the business, which obviously is the retail media monetization. Where we deploy our tech to enable sponsored product online, on-site display and off-site, right? Retail media display. So basically for everyone, just to understand exactly what you can buy on Amazon, see the ads on Amazon, we provide a solution to all the retailers, obviously outside of Amazon, whenever they are ready to monetize. So definitely I would say in the region what I foresee, and I know based on the conversations with the agencies, with the advertisers, that's the next trend. They are ready. Do you want to spend? Unfortunately, still we don't have enough supply. So basically, those retailers that are monetized, right? We have the few, but the rest, specifically Saudi Arabia, they are getting ready. So what I mentioned, revamping the websites, et cetera, working on their tech solutions in order to move forward.
Yeah. I think, absolutely. With retail media, you said being the future, and that's certainly something we're planning to talk about a lot more. It's a popular subject. With ad spend obviously appearing to be increasing towards retail media more and more. Is this a trend that you think will continue to grow? I think obviously it seems to be the future where you're looking at it.
If it's a trend, definitely a trend, definitely a future. One of the most important trends in digital media, and especially when we talk about e-com, when you look at the research, Most of them, they say that retail media spend, I mean, obviously will surpass linear TV by 2025, so end of 25. So this only tells you, you know, how big it is. Yeah. It's definitely, it's been growing faster than search, than social. Obviously, key markets like US and obviously in Europe we have UK, France, Germany, obviously leading the pace, but everyone is catching up. All the retailers, they recognize it. They recognize the need of monetization, and also with right now it's been postponed. We don't know what's going to happen with cookies, but then on the other hand, all the retailers, they are sitting on the gold mine of data, like whenever obviously they have the first party audiences that they can monetize, and then all the advertisers, they're gonna be after them, you know? So after this one particular audience that they wanna convert as their customer, right? Yeah. So that answers your question.
Absolutely. And just with that kind of innovation and that's constantly in developing in e-commerce and innovation in commerce media, can you share any upcoming innovations or features that Criteo plans to roll out in Q4 or into 2025 and to enhance commerce media effectiveness for your clients?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, I already covered it, right? I mean, but I mean, for us, it's not there is one particular launch, you know, it's ongoing, always enhancement. I did mention the POCs with the social extension, so I'm personally very much looking forward to the global launch of TikTok, you know, so we are obviously live with Meta, hopefully. Early next year, we will officially launch TikTok and then all the other social platforms, the common ones, obviously. I mean, that's in progress. Criteo has, I mean, 3 main products, as I would say. You know, the retail media platform, that's for the monetization part. So obviously, I mean, it's the constant improvement based on retailers' needs, and we also, whenever we sign the contract with the retailer, we also tailor it to their needs. They can white label it and so on and so on. So this is always, I mean, it's not one product fits all. We always develop and tailor it towards their needs. Definitely Sigrid, which is our SSP. This is predominantly product for the agencies where they can access our commerce data using their beloved DSPs like Google or the Trade Desk, so DV360 or Trade Desk, so we can push our commerce audiences into their particular seats. So I think this is something that it's already live globally, not yet in the market. We need just more supply, but it's coming. So I'm super excited about it, and I think 2025 will be the year to launch it in the market. But whoever has global clients, specifically travel, they can already access the audiences, for global targeting. And when it comes to performance media, so basically our full funnel e-commerce DSP, that's what I mentioned. The most recent is obviously the new narrative when it comes to the commerce audiences that I already spoke about. And I would say just, it's just the constant innovation and layering new data, new audience ad sets, et cetera. So, I think we have lots to play with, and it's just a matter of, utilizing it in the right way.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a good note to end the conversation on, but thank you once again for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.